Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome to our fabulous mini lesson on signs and symptoms of psychic attacks and entity attachments that are very specific for starseeds, light workers, and healers. For those of you not that familiar with me, hello, my name is Dr. Heather Hobson of the Starseed Sanctuary. I am a lifelong psychic, intuitive energy healer, quantum alchemist, professional astrologer, and Akashic Records expert. And I really specialize in supporting starseeds, light workers, healers, and awakening souls. So this is a very important lesson I wanted to share with you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, so first, a really important note about entities and psychic attacks, because I think there can be a lot of misconceptions, a lot of confusion on what exactly are those. It sounds super scary, and they can be very challenging sometimes, but a psychic attack or an entity attachment of any kind is just an energy. Okay, I repeat that. It is just an energy. So I say this up front to help take a little bit of the fear out of this topic. Okay, there's nothing to be afraid of here. While these types of energy disturbances can create a lot of challenges in our lives, you absolutely can clear these things. Okay, so it could be a spirit. An earthbound spirit, a disembodied spirit, a ghost, a deceased loved one who has lost his or her way or their way. Could be a traumatized soul or energy seeking help or comfort, someone from a past or parallel life you have unresolved karma with, or even an extension of your own inner suppressed darkness, your own repressed, suppressed, disowned shadow. Yes, your own shadow can sometimes cause these. And it could also be energies from this plane, from the earth plane, or higher or lower planes, a different dimension, or even a different galaxy. No matter what it is, it's just energy. Okay. And we know energy can be cleared. You can shift your energy quite quickly, actually. You're tired, you lay down, you take a nap. You're hungry, you have some food. You're shifting energy all the time. I'm moving my hands, I'm shifting energy right now, right? So I just want to really encourage you to take the fear out of this. And also, too, as we're talking, I want to now place a triple layer sphere of impenetrable protection around you watching this, around me, and around this entire mini webinar, casting out and shielding from all harmful energies of all kinds across all dimensions of time and space, while only allowing in the highest vibrational energies in alignment with true source, with true light, so that everyone watching this can get the highest benefit from it without any interference. And another method I like to do is I place a multidimensional column of light around us, just kind of moving us outside of the synthetic or shadow matrix and connecting us with the divine. That helps to make sure this information can be received without interference and that we're free and clear, at least temporarily, for many of those entities or attachments. Okay. So specific signs for starseeds, light workers, and healers. Attachments can come from many different lifetimes. And if you are a starseed, old soul, you identify as a healer, a psychic, a witch, a mystic, a heretic, a rebel with a cause, you have a greater likelihood of having some of these attachments because we know if we've lived hundreds or thousands of lifetimes, well, not all of those lifetimes we've been doing magical, wonderful, benevolent things. We've had lifetimes where maybe we were working for dark forces, or we became infiltrated or made a pact with an entity. All kinds of different things can come up. And again, just energy, so we can clear these things. But some of these really common indicators that I see when I do quantum alchemy sessions, energy clearings, Akashic records, and even sometimes starseed astrology, it comes up too. Seeing or sensing chains around your ankles. This is a really common one, interestingly, for Andromedan starseeds and those who have had past or parallel lives as witches. Another indicator specific to starseeds, light workers, and healers is feeling unable to connect with your spirit or your star guides. You may have had an awakening recently or quite a long time ago, and maybe you feel like it's plateaued. Like maybe initially you were able to connect or you had some type of contact and then it just kind of dropped off. Or maybe you feel like, well, I've never really been able to like fully connect with my star guides, my star family, with my spirit guides, any of them. So feeling blocked in that way. And that can be oftentimes because of a negative entity attachment, or even your soul star chakra, the chakra above your crown, being blocked. Sometimes when we're engaging with lower vibrational frequencies, as there's many of, right, in the earth realm, we can have distortions in some of our energy centers. Another really common one for star seeds and light workers is a glamour or almost like a filter placed over the third eye. So you can't really activate clairvoyance, or your third eye, your intuition even feels a little stifled. You always seem to be doubting your intuition or not trusting it or not even able to hear it. Or sometimes if you are connecting through the third eye through like dreams, through meditation, what you're getting feels hazy. It feels like it's not clear, or only feels like it's half of the picture. And then the next one too, a hazy or white third eye, or a lot of haze, almost like a cloudy energy in the auric field, in the energy field. A lot of entity attachments will do that to not just stifle you, but also to disguise themselves in your energy field when they're latching on, because they're getting energy from you and you're a food source for them. They don't want to lose their food source. So they try to disguise themselves in that way. You can still identify them though with support. Another really common sign for starseeds and lightworkers of entity attachments or negative energy distortions is a metal tag or an etheric tag, sometimes even an implant on the top of the ear or behind the ear. I will sometimes see those in the neck as well. And another one is an M or a W, or it could be another type of symbol or sigil that's like a brand on the shoulder showing ownership. That entity or spirit feels like they own you or they have right to you. It's like the pimp kind of of your energy field. So it kind of like doesn't let other energies siphon off of you. It feels like it owns you or has right to you. It does not. But these are sometimes things that show up. And then an oversized fish hook through the crown or the third eye. Again, similar to a filter placed over the third eye. These are etheric. These are things that gifted psychics and clairvoyants can tap into and connect to when we're checking in with your energy field. Even if you can't see them, most people can sense them in a way. And so this also, that final one could look like frequent migraines, frequent headaches, always feeling off, always feeling confused, disoriented, memory problems, losing things, stuff like that can come up quite often. Okay. And then just also want to cover some of the basic signs and symptoms of psychic attacks or negative entity attachments. Really common that these come up for people when they had some type of onset event. So after a move, after some type of healing retreat, or work with the energy practitioner, as well meaning as many energy practitioners are, sometimes they're not doing their own work to clear themselves. They could have an entity attachment, or they didn't close the session fully and completely and left you vulnerable to something. And some of us are just incredibly highly sensitive people. We pick up things when we're not meaning to, even with the best of intentions. After vacation or travel, after interaction with certain people, places, or things, if you've had a kundalini or spiritual awakening of some kind, I will share a little bit about one of my experiences circa 2017 during a breath work. I had an incredibly powerful release of trauma and a subsequent kundalini awakening. And there was some really weird things that were happening with that practitioner and the breath work. And at one point I opened up my eyes, we're laying down breathing, right? And I went like this, and she was like hovering right over me, doing some weird, it felt like she was tapping into my energy field without my consent, is what it felt like. And then after that, I started having horrible nightmares. It was like I was blasted open and awakened, and I could see and sense things more than I ever had. However, there was a lot of scary things too that were coming through. And luckily, I had enough tools and skills to cope with it and deal with it and eventually clear it. But really scary when that kind of stuff happens, especially if you're not sure what's going on. Sometimes people will even go to like the ER and then they're diagnosed with schizophrenia, and that's not at all what's even going on. Other signs and symptoms of attachments: paranormal activity in the home, That could look like a multitude of different things, hearing footsteps, knocks, weird sounds. It's not just the house settling, feeling like you're hearing your name being called. Disturbing dreams, sleep paralysis is a really common one for people. That's a very clear tail sign. If you're having sleep paralysis, awake but can't move, there's some type of energy distortion. Sudden onset of intrusive thoughts, and you have no history of that, kind of feels out of place for you, or feeling like you're having thoughts that don't feel like your own. Extreme fatigue with no physical origin, visions of entities. And a side note on that one, when you do open your third eye, when you do start to open it, I recommend doing that process slowly. If you only want to see positive things, that is actually a distortion. When you open your third eye, there's a big difference between opening it, activating it, and having it be clear. Because when it's clear, you're going to sometimes see unpleasant things. So, a regulated nervous system is super important for this because you're going to awaken it, open it. You're not just going to see light orbs and fairies and etheric light beings and star guides or sense them. You're also going to see things like black cubes, black goo, which we'll talk about in another mini lesson. Feeling of being watched, really common one. That's an unpleasant one. Again, just an energy you can clear. A series of tragedies, accidents, and calamities. It seems to just come out of nowhere. It doesn't seem like there's a clear purpose to them or a lesson in it. It just seems like a lot of unnecessary junk coming at you for a period of time. Some other signs and symptoms of negative entity attachments or psychic attacks, sudden change in behavior that's very out of character for you or someone around you. People start reacting to you really differently. Sudden onset of addictive or addiction or addictive behavior that worsens suddenly without a clear trigger. Maybe you had not been drinking for a year or two, and then all of a sudden you just always want to drink or get drunk or something like that. That's a concern. There's something else probably going on there. Discovering bruises, marks, scratches, unexplained injuries, things like that. Perceptual disturbances that can look like quite a lot of different things, right? Blurry vision, again, without a clear medical, right, physical medical origin. I mentioned sleep paralysis, just a gut feeling that something's off. And you might have even had attempts to remove entities, but healing always feels thwarted or it doesn't last. You're asking entities to leave, you're asking energies to dissipate, you're doing a variety of different work that you know tends to be good and works, but they're not going, they're not respecting your boundaries. Sometimes that happens. Other signs and symptoms of energy disturbances. So, really, really important here to note not all physical, mental, emotional, or even energy disturbances are due to psychic attack. Okay. So, if you're like, man, I'm having a series of bad luck, there's a psychic attack entity, it's not always the case, right? We want to be discerning here and consult with someone that you trust about the topic if you're not sure. But going through a dark night of the soul, that's not necessarily a psychic attack, right? If you're consistently in a lower frequency, that can make you more vulnerable if you're not doing ongoing spiritual or energetic maintenance. But a dark night of the soul or an existential crisis in themselves are not a sign necessarily of a psychic attack or entity attachment. Just feeling hopeless or helpless. Oh my gosh, the world is really difficult place to be. It's okay if you feel that way sometimes. It's not necessarily a sign that you have a negative attachment, right? Feeling blocked. That can happen. If it feels out of character and it's gone on for a long time, that's something we want to look a little closer at. Extreme avoidance, extreme isolation. This is a huge problem, even post pandemic, because a lot of us became homebodies, aren't going out much, and then maybe are still stuck in that. Not necessarily by itself a sign, but if there's all those other signs and symptoms or a handful of them going on, we want to look again a little closer at doing a proper clearing on that. Just not feeling like yourself with no real reason, with no real trigger for that, and it feels prolonged. Going through a major life change is not necessarily a sign of a psychic attack or an entity disturbance, right? You lost a loved one, the death of a pet, the death of a loved one, a job change, a big move, a breakup, a fight or a falling out with a friend or a family member, all of those things happen and they're really unpleasant. And they do sometimes lower our frequency that makes us, again, more susceptible to attachments. But those in isolation are not necessarily due to entities. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so if you guys are ready, I really want to invite you to stop letting psychic attacks hold you back. You do not need to let these things hold you back any longer. I have a beautiful quantum alchemy course. It's been helping so many people. It's been really wonderful to see. And so I want to invite you to check it out. I'm going to link it below. We cover dozens of different types of entities, and psychic attacks, negative energy disturbances, and provide you with an entire toolkit of how to clear these fully and completely for yourself and others so you can give back and do this work for other people as well. We also cover timeline alchemy, how to manifest your best life, and quantum grid work. So it's really like 5 classes in one, courses in one. So please, please, please check it out. Or if you are interested in having a session with me to address anything that you're going through, I will also link my booking site below. Please let me know if you guys have questions, if you like this video, and I'll make more of them. Thank you.